Okay, so here we have an array. We've made an array, and we have 3 items. So technically, so we're going to go from 0, 1, and 2. That's the index. And so we're putting cat, dog, and owl into the index, into the array. Okay, and we want to print these out. So we have 2 ways to do it. The first way, we're going to use an index. So we're going to set J to 0. We have to initialize it. And then we're going to say J will be less than 3. And then we're going to add 1 to J. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to write it to the console, the value that's in J at that array. So let's take a look at that. Well, the value that X is at for that J. So now we loop, we count from 0 to less than 3. So we're going to count from 0 to 2, 0 to 2, and we're going to print the value of the array by looping through it using an index. So let's run that. So you see we get the cat, dog, and the owl because we've looped through it. Okay, so there are times to use an index, but using an index can give you more power as to your position in the array, and it can be easier to work with, especially when you want to go to a certain number in the array. But there is an error that can happen. So let's say this was in a function and you sent in a 5 and said loop 5 times, but there's only 3 items. Okay, so we run that, and of course we'll get an error. Okay, so the error is that the index was outside the bounds of the array. So that's the one thing. If you handle the index yourself, okay, you do get the possibility of getting an error if you go over the index. So if we don't want to have that error be possible, we can use a ForEach. Okay, so let's do that. So the other way to do it is with the ForEach. Okay, and we have to just declare how we're looping, what we're looping through. We're going to loop through the strings. Okay, so we're really letting the ForEach know that this is a string array. Okay, so instead of using an index, we actually use the item that the ForEach is specifying, the word item. That's our variable that we made. So we're going to loop through this. Now you notice we don't need the index because the ForEach knows perfectly what the array is and the size of the array. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, there's our cat, dog, owl, and we did that without having to use an index, which means that you can't get that error of going past the end of the array. So that's the main difference between using an index and using an array. And you're not always going to end up using the ForEach because there are times to use an index. Okay? All right, thanks.